After travelling from London to Glasgow, we took a train, a boat, a bus and then another boat to arrive here on the Hebridean island of Jura, before travelling the final 7 miles in a car to this remote farmhouse. Our host requested that we bring tea, flour and jam, stout boots and warm clothing. It is in this almost monastic seclusion that the author George Orwell has decided to write his new novel, the first since Animal Farm several years ago. Mr. Orwell, what can you tell us about the new book?
I do not like talking about books before they're written, but I will say that it is a novel about the future. It is, in a sense, a fantasy.
15 miles from the nearest telephone, on an island with just one proper road and one doctor, Mr. Orwell's new home seems inappropriate for a virtual invalid with a young son. But isolation is what Mr. Orwell craves.
One just seems to have such a limited capacity for work nowadays. One has to husband it. These islands are largely uninhabited, so I can work quietly here. I'm getting on with my novel and hope to finish it in the spring. I've not got as far as I'd hoped because I've been in wretched health. My chest as usual. Of course, I can't see Richard till I'm non-infectious.
The novel Orwell went to the Isle of Jura to write was 1984. For this final attack on totalitarianism, he drew on his entire life.
It is Christmas Eve 1947. I am again with George Orwell, who despite severe tuberculosis has just finished the first draft of 1984 and is being driven to a Glasgow hospital to recuperate.
One wants to live, of course. Indeed, one only stays alive by virtue of the fear of death. But I think now it is better to die violently and not too old. People talk about the horror of war, but what weapon has man invented that even approaches in cruelty some of the commoner diseases? Natural death, almost by definition, is something slow, smelly and painful.
Of course, I don't know you very well, but it seems to me that this latest illness has changed you. Do you agree?
Yes, isn't it awful? I've got some more false teeth and a little grey in my hair.
Actually, I wasn't referring to physical changes. I was talking more about your attitude towards your book. Have you noticed...
long illness, when one is weak and without appetite, but without being actually feverish or in pain, one gets the impression one's brain is quite normal, one's thoughts just as active as ever. It's only when one attempts to write that you realise the deterioration that has happened inside your skull. Your thoughts, when you have them, are just like your thoughts at any other time. But as soon as they're reduced to some kind of order, they turn into badly expressed platitudes.
In which case, why carry on?
Such a good idea. Couldn't possibly abandon it.
Returning to Jura in the spring of 1948, almost a year after my first visit, I find Mr. Orwell back from hospital and working on the final draft of 1984.